Welcome to Mind Matters with Dr. Michelle. You may know today's guest as Mrs. Michigan. You may not know that she was still coping with loss while receiving the crown. Stay tuned for Latrice Delgado-Macon's inspiring story. We're going to take a quick break, share your thoughts on Facebook and Instagram at Mind Matters with Dr. Michelle. Welcome back to Mind Matters with Dr. Michelle. And welcome, Latrice.
Thank you for having me.
Or should I say Mrs. Michigan? I feel like I should say, and the winner is... Well, Latrice, so I was watching a video on your page, and this is what, and as soon as I finished watching it, and I think even before I finished watching it, I'm like, I need to get her on the show. And so you were talking about your brother and the loss you endured prior to becoming Mrs. Michigan. And so can you talk a little bit about that? But first, talk about your background.
Well, my name's Latrice Delgado-Macon. I am a wardrobe stylist. I've been in the fashion industry now for a little bit over 20 plus years. And I also a professor. I teach fashion as well. So I love it. Love it.
Yes, I
and
know.
Mommy.
Yeah, and a mommy, mommy and a wife. And I'm sure they see the bling on your finger, right? And so you were, so your brother, you were not expecting to lose your brother. You weren't aware that your brother was sick and he came home. Can you talk about that and what happened?
Yeah, so my brother got diagnosed at the age of 28. So he was younger. Well, he's older than me, but we're younger. So he got diagnosed at the age of 28. He started off with a little pimple on his leg.
And what was he diagnosed with?
Sarcoma cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, so he started off with a pimple on his leg, and he kept on saying, this pimple won't go away. So one day he was playing outside basketball, and it escalated all to his whole leg. So he went to the doctor. The doctor said that, let's just check it. So they checked it, and they said it's cancerous. And they gave him stage 4, aggressive cancer, so he didn't have that much time. So when he got diagnosed, it hit me hard and affected our family because not only did I lose my brother, I lost 3 uncles all at the same time. So when I lost my brother, it affected me so much because he was the one I could go to for everything. So when he got diagnosed, he lived for a year and a half, had a daughter, beautiful daughter, and then it just took over his body.
And did he tell the family right away?
He was scared to tell anyone. He didn't want to tell his friends, anything. So he kind of like stayed in a dark room. He didn't know how to get it out. But when he told us, we kind of like, okay, we're going to fight this all together.
So he was trying to find some support even outside of the
it
family.
Already took over his body. Yeah.
Okay. So so it started out as a pimple.
It started
just
off as
like
a pimple.
Did it have color to it? Do you know?
It was red.
Okay, so it was a red pimple.
Like a red bluish.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did he just think it didn't?
Away.
He just thought it was something that would go away. Because I mean, we get pimples all the time.
Pimples or molds or whatever. So he thought it was going to go away eventually, but he said his leg was hurting. So they wanted to, amputate it. They wanted to get rid of it in general, but he didn't want that. He said it's already in my body. I'm 28. I'm young out here. But it already went through his body, went through his lungs, his kidneys, his brain. So at that time, he was like, well, why should I get it done? It's not going to help me any. But it was really aggressive. Like, you see the different stages within a month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, within months. Like, he was a big guy.
Yeah.
To me, he was like 200 pounds, and then you go all the way to 100 pounds within months.
Yeah.
So that was like really devastating. Yeah.
And so how long ago was this?
This was 2008.
2008.
When he got diagnosed with cancer. And shortly after that, I became pregnant. So He was my lifesaver. He saved me on a lot of things.
Yeah. So this was in 2008, and he lived for another year, a year and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was life like during that time, like with him, for that year and a half with him?
It was hard. My parents had to work. My sister was at work. His wife, he got married. He was a newlywed. She had to work. So I was the only one who had that flexible job. So I took him all the time, every day to his appointments. It was scary watching him go through it all. It was hard for me because I was 24 at the time, whatever. So, watching him go through it, he couldn't keep food down and everything. It was hard. but I had to take care of my brother because I know he would have done the same thing for me. And whatever he needed, I was there for it. You know, whatever he wanted, he'd say, Latrice, you got to graduate from school. Before I leave, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I did everything he asked me and more. But it was devastating. Yeah.
And I'm sure at that time you noticed some things about your own mental health.
I did. Yeah.
I'm sure.
So the day my brother passed, I was on 75 going southbound, you know, living downtown. And I was so tired, I fell asleep on the road. And the cars on the side, and it was snowy outside on this day. So the car on this side and the car on this side was trying to wake me up. And I was checked out. I didn't care. I mean, I seen it. You know how you see something, but you're not mentally there? I seen it, but I just went to sleep. The cars was like honking their horns, doing whatever they can to save me. But this one guy, still to this day, I don't know who he is. He saved my life. He bumped his car onto mine, and whatever he did, he stopped it and saved my life. And you know,
Yeah. And you probably, and that's how trauma works. Like you don't even realize, sometimes you don't realize just how overwhelmed you are with something until you're on the road falling asleep.
Falling asleep, not even realizing that you're falling asleep. Yeah. So it's this build up trauma. And, you know, in the Black community, we don't like to talk about it. And I think that it's something that we should talk about, our trauma, because that trauma, it causes adult trauma.
Yeah,
and you can take it into relationships, whatever. So I think that if we get naked in the bud, talk about it, we won't have to carry it on for generations.
And so often when we're faced with traumatizing experiences, even in the midst of that trauma, you know, we're told to be strong. And sometimes, you know, you're being strong by seeking therapy, or you're being strong by admitting I can't do all of this. But sometimes, you know, we tend to confuse, you know, strength with let's just ignore this and, you know, let's suck it up. And that's just the opposite. All of those things make you weak, right?
Right.
And so.
And that's what happened in my case. Like, my mom was like, oh, you fine. You know, you'll be okay. And it wasn't. My mother, I showed my mother like points of what I was doing.
Yeah.
I starved myself. I didn't even care anymore. Like, I was showing her, giving her hints, but she didn't realize it. Or my uncle my father didn't realize it. But the one person who realized it was my aunt.
Yes, and that just means we need to pay more attention to ourselves
Our
and
kids,
also, you know, people around you, your loved ones. We're going to take a quick break, head over to @MyMatters with Dr. Michelle. See you in a minute. Welcome back to My Matters with Dr. Michelle. So Latrice, you said that you, after losing your brother, you stopped eating and you dropped down to 70 pounds.
Yeah.
How did that go unnoticed?
Yeah. So, you know, the thing with my brother and losing uncles at the same time, no one was noticing it. They were, you know, grieving. They were still going through their darkness and everything. And I was just not eating. I said that I do not care anymore. I don't want to live. I'm losing everyone in my family. And it affected me. I did not care. So I got all the way down to 70 pounds. And when my brother passed, we had everyone come over. And my auntie was the first one who noticed it. So she asked me in front of everyone, like, Latrice, you are way too skinny. Are you even eating? And I'm like, why would she call me out like that? You know, you don't want that. You know, why would you call me out there like that? Yeah, I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to sleep. I didn't do anything. I just worked extra hours or whatever because I didn't want to, you know, keep that on my head.
Yeah. And it can be difficult, you know, sometimes, you know, the people around us every day, certain things will go unnoticed. And then you have somebody, you know, they haven't seen you in years and they're like, are you okay?
Yes.
You know, they notice everything. And so things can go unnoticed. And then your family, they were also dealing with trauma.
Yeah.
And so the fact that your aunt noticed, I mean, that right there, I mean, she probably saved your life.
She saved me.
Yeah.
I had so many angels around me from the car experience, from the not eating. And when my daughter came, I said, everyone saved me because I didn't care.
Yeah, you didn't care. Yeah, your daughter didn't even know she was a lifesaver.
Didn't even know.
She's,
little bacon in the oven.
Yeah. And so when you said you didn't want to live, did you ever do anything? Were there ever any gestures? Were there ever any attempts, any plans in your life?
I didn't have any plans or any, you know, planned out thing what I was going to do. I just said I was going to stop eating. and then whatever it goes from there or whatever happens.
Okay.
I said I was going to get in that car and drive. So if I fall asleep and something happens, I really don't care. I was at a place in my heart, in my mind, that no one else even cared about what I was doing, you know?
Yeah. And so your not eating was intentional.
Yeah,
You said
something that just happened.
yeah.
It was like, okay, I'm not going to eat anymore. And then, it was all about looks and everything too. So you want to look a certain way. And I wasn't even big. I was like no more than 120 pounds. But when I got to 70, I didn't even notice that I was at 70 pounds, you know?
Were you hungry during that?
I-
Were you like,
I was-
I'm hungry, but I'm not going to eat? Or you
No,
weren't
I
even
would make
hungry?
myself throw up.
Okay.
I would go in the bathroom, make myself throw up. It's not that I didn't eat. I ate and just,
And then you would.
yeah. Yeah.
So you said, okay, you're going to notice me.
Yeah.
You're going to notice me.
notice
I'm
me
going to
somehow.
be, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of kids go through that where they don't know how to communicate with their parents or whatever, or express their feelings. And I think that middle school age is really where we should, look at our children or kids or even anybody. But people do give like signals and points that they are
Yes.
suffering when we just not paying attention or we just dusting it under the rug. And I think that people should pay attention to those signals. Yeah.
Did you get into therapy, any type of formal therapy? Or
So I didn't get the therapy until I got older.
Okay.
I had to tell myself, like, Latrice, it's okay. It's okay if you experience this. When I got older, that's when I started talking to different pastors, doctors, or whatever.
Okay.
And I had to tell myself that it's okay. This is not something to be ashamed of.
That stigma is
that
just there.
stigma.
Yeah.
It's okay to talk it out because more and more I talked about it, I felt comfortable.
Okay.
And if I held it in, I had trigger points. Yeah.
And that's generally what happens with any of us. We hold
Yeah.
it in, and there's trigger points just when we think we're handling it. Those
Right.
trigger points, get us.
Set us
Whether it's
off.
so, it's interesting that you said, you wanted to be noticed, because I know my first time meeting you, you lit up the room, so no one would even think. And I think this is why your story is so inspiring, because people need to know that sometimes it's not a matter of, I'm Mrs. Michigan because I had so much confidence, but I went for it despite, not having the confidence, and that confidence had to come.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's what happened with you, because, you're so bright and fun and and so, so no one would ever think that you had an issue with being noticed.
Right.
So how did you go from being this person who considered herself the black sheep to, okay, now I'm in a pageant where I have to be in front of people who are going to judge everything that I do?
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason I say a black sheep is because I wanted that love, that attention from love. I knew I was confident. I was
Okay.
confident. I knew I had friends, whatever, but that wasn't my fulfillment. My fulfillment was challenging myself. My fulfillment was getting that love in return and everything. And when I found out about pageantry, because I didn't know nothing, I didn't know a girl like me can get in it, right? But when I found out about pageantry, it was like, let's do this. Why not do this? I was nervous because you got to get on stage with a swimsuit on.
Yeah.
You got to do interviews. You got to get on stage and talk about your platform. I was nervous, but it challenged me to do things that is fear for. You know what I'm saying? That fear me and held me back. So I loved it. I got on
Yeah.
stage. I told my story, and look at me today.
How did you enter?
So I entered. I had a friend of mine.
Okay.
She was like, Latrice, I think you should get into pageantry. This would be great for you. And I'm like, nah, this is not my style. I'm not going to do it. But I'm glad she talked me into it. And when she got into it, I said, I'm going to represent my city, because that's what trauma started for me, is in the city of Detroit,
Okay.
in my house. So I said, I'm going to represent my city because I love my city, and I'm going to do whatever I can. So I did. I went in there and I said, I'm Mrs. Detroit.
Yeah.
And I told them about my platform, and here we are.
Yeah, and here we are.
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about this when we come back. Head over to @MyMatters with Dr. Michelle. See you in a minute. Welcome back to My Matters with Dr. Michelle. And again, we have Mrs. Michigan in the house. So Latrice, so you decided, okay, you had a friend and she helped you get ready and get into the pageant, Mrs. Michigan. So what after that?
So we do have to pay a fee. You pay that registration fee and say what city you want to represent. Put that in, and then they go through the whole process of where you're gonna get judged on. It's swimsuit interviews, your stage presence, a lot. So you go in training mode, get into training mode, stay focused, work with a coach, and start walking. Do your pageant walk and everything. And it's so much fun because you get to wear gowns.
Yeah.
So it's something that I think women should do because it challenged us to love our bodies more and to do something that, is not a norm for us, especially being a mother.
Yeah.
A lot of people on stage are mothers now. So being on stage as a mother and going with my whole new body, I thought it was like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So it keeps me motivated and keeps me working out on a daily.
You were already into fashion before this, right?
Yeah.
So what's your business? Again, you mentioned it, your fashion business.
So I have Detroit Fashion Community. It's a nonprofit organization, 501c3. And I also have the Styling Closet. And it's a wardrobe styling agency where we have a lot of potential wardrobe stylists in Michigan. We teach them the background of it and show them how to write proposals and everything and go from there.
Okay. So being a stylist, the pageant world was it was
a
natural for
breeze.
you? It was just like breeze. You're like, I know what to wear. I know what to
Yes.
do. Because you don't have to learn like what's good for your body and all of that. And so what do you do? Do you style other people now?
I do.
You doing that? Okay.
So I started off with my first client. I'm aging myself if I say this. I started off with UNV, Jagged Edge 112. It was the whole Interscope label, Columbia Records. I started off with them. Even Eminem. I worked with Eminem a few things. And then from that point on, I've just been doing video shoots, editorial shoots, personal styling, whatever.
Oh, that is wonderful. So how have you been able to manage, maintaining a healthy diet, like eating versus not eating?
Yeah.
How have you been able to maintain all of that?
Yeah. So over the time I became vegan, even though I eat fish once every 3 months.
So you're a baby vegan? Is it baby vegan?
Yes. So I do eat fish every 3 months because, the omega-3s, whatever. But I took that out away from my diet, regular eating meats and all that. And I've been like this for 10 years. And then eating healthy is a part of the wardrobe and all that. Because when you put on clothes, you want to be able to feel good, work out, and, be able to feel good on the outside as well as you do on the inside. So it made me maintain a weight. So if I feel like if I put on those jeans and they tight, I go hit the gym. I'm like, okay, we're about to hit this gym, drink some water, and change our diet.
So what about as far as just overall, like as far as feeling happy, versus anxious or depression? And I always say that, it's not about getting rid of the anxiety and getting rid of the depression. It's about learning to manage it. And it sounds like you've learned to manage.
Yes. You have to understand where your trigger points are, manage that. I know it makes me happy. My daughter is one of them. Everything she does makes me happy. My husband's another. And not even that, just doing what I love doing. So working out is one of them. Fashion is another. And being around lovely friends.
Yeah. So it's good, you got to the point where you're like, okay, you got to the point where you became like more self-aware.
Right.
You gained insight. You know what your needs are. So you have people that come to you. I'm sure people will want to work with you.
Yeah.
How does it work? Like, how does somebody sign up to work with you?
Well, to get a wardrobe styling consultation, you will have to go to the stylingcloset.com. You can go in there and say how many minutes you want, and we'll give you your first consultation for free. We'll talk about the colors and your style and give you your measurements. And from that point on, we'll say, hey, we got a mood board for you. This is the looks that we want to see on you. So we'll take them to the store, style them, and they'll love it after that. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you love most about what you do?
What I love about it, because you see, I work with all types of women, all types of guys, cancer, fitness, whatever. And just seeing people get excited because they didn't know they can put that on is amazing to me. Yeah,
it's not you kind of see people come alive.
Yeah,
they're like, oh no, I can't wear that.
Yeah.
And so even now, so on a day-to-day, do you wake up feeling inspired? Do you still have bad days?
I do have my bad days. I just had a couple. I was like, oh my gosh, if I don't get out this house.
So how does it feel like as you sit here wearing your crown?
I'm excited because I never thought I could get on this stage and do it. And I won. I won. I'm like, they're not going to get this girl from Detroit, Michigan. Yes, they did to represent the state of Michigan. And I love it. I feel honored. I feel privileged. And I love my city. So I'm going to do whatever to make them happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any times where you were just like, I don't know if I can do this?
I did. I was backstage. Okay, so the final question, whatever, they asked you this question and my brain just went blank. So they're like, Treese, how do you feel about this? And I'm like, yeah, da, 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 da. Drop. And I'm like, I can't remember the rest. But it was, yeah.
Well, sometimes that's what happens, right? Our heads get in our own way. We're just like, like, can you, and then I mean, I guess if you say, can you repeat that? They're like, okay, like, you're not paying attention. Right. You're not interested. Yeah. But, and I mean, and that's what happens. And here you sit wearing the crown and beautifully. We're going to take a quick break. Head over to @MindMatters with Dr. Michelle. See you in a minute. Thank you for watching today. Remember, the more positive your thoughts, the better you feel. Happiness is healing. Head over to @MindMatters with Dr. Michelle to share your thoughts about today's episode and more. Improve your mental health, improve your life. See you next week.